All right, this is episode 96 of Enemy of the State's Dank Podstash that just so happens to also be an in-real-life Rebel stream with Jeremy Harding. We recorded this earlier today being Sunday, August 9th at Jeremy's place. So if you were tagged or saw it announced by Jeremy, you got to watch it live on his YouTube channel. I believe Jeremiah Talks. If not, you're listening to it or watching it on the Dank Podstash channel now. So I hope you enjoy. We talked about a lot of cool stuff. Try to do this once a month. Let me know what you think about it, if we should keep doing it or not. We probably will anyways, though. So anyways, here, before we get started, let me thank my Dank Podstash super supporters, Maxwell, Dave, and Dennis. You guys keep the show going strong. The rest of my Patreon patrons do as well. I appreciate it so much. Couldn't do it without you, and you guys are ushering us into the rebrand. So thank you so much for your support. And if you want to support what I do here with the Podstash, you can go to patreon.com/thedankpodstash and choose a tier of support, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, the Dank Podstash is officially sponsored by Project Sparta. Now is the time to get healthy and in shape. Greg Papanicholas is going to get you there with personalized meal plans, training, group support, and tons of amazing fitness and motivational resources and knowledge, including the Project Sparta Facebook group. You can go to projectspartacoaching.com and learn more about Greg's work and get started on your path to health. In this crazy world we're living in, our health is more important than ever. Get up, start learning, communicating, and training. One of the most important and often neglected things in life is your physical health. Get to projectspartacoaching.com now and get after it. Shout out to Voluntary Apothecary. Voluntary Apothecary is here to fulfill all of your beard care needs. They carry beard oil, mustache wax, beard butter, and more. I only use their beard care products, and I love them. You can check out their amazing products at voluntарyapothecary.com. And listeners of the show can take 10% off your order with coupon code DANK at checkout. Go get it. It's awesome. Also, the Dank Podstash is teaming up with Road to Anarchy for a monthly newsletter and more. Road to Anarchy is an online magazine connecting groups of voluntary individuals who are looking to increase their freedom from the state. Becoming more self-reliant and developing a better focus on becoming a productive individual is the only mission. The only division is against the state. No matter your flavor of anarchy, finding your road to anarchy is the first step to progress. The time is now to put our individual differences aside, join up, and create change. You can go to roadtoanarchy.com to sign up for the monthly zine or to patreon.com/thedankpodstash and get signed up with any tier of support. Check out the Road to Anarchy Facebook page and groups to connect with other individuals on the road to anarchy. Where is your road taking you? All right, buckle up. Enjoy the In Real Life Rebel Stream number 4 with me and Jeremy Harding and fucking Chain Link to the Moon.
Enemy of the state.
An enemy of the state.
Enemy of the state.
Dank Podstash.
You're listening to Enemy of the State's Dank Podstash. Check out thedankpodstash.com to find every episode of the Dank Podstash, links to support the show via our BitBacker and Patreon, Dank Podstash merchandise, and much more. If you'd like to advertise on the Dank Podstash, email us at dankpodstash@gmail.com.
All those things are words. So with that being said, for those of you who aren't familiar, this is the 4th stream Nick and I have done IRL since the beginning of the apocalypse. And if you decide you want to support these streams, there are multiple ways in the description. But basically, we're saying fuck the feds. We're not distant, very apparently, and neither of us are sick. So fuck literally everyone in the government. But before we get into anything related to the virus, because we are going to talk about some of that shit, let's talk briefly about something we forgot to bring up last time, which was the fact that Nick finally got the same lie I did about being banned from Discord. So feel free to discuss that.
I just got email one day saying that my account was suspended for violating whatever terms of service and whatnot. I haven't been on Discord for months. At that point, I kind of let the Dank Podstash Discord fall into disrepair, lost some mods, and this just came out of the blue. And I was like, okay, I don't know how, but I remember it did come right after Christopher Ledbetter got picked up by the feds, and his, what was it, Better with Ledbetter or something like that? I can't remember. The Discord server for Ledbetter and all his boys that I was in got taken down. And so did multiple redacted other servers that I was in. Yeah. The big CNN. Yeah, they all got taken down, and then I got apparently a TOS violation for being in them.
Yeah, so this is the same email I got. He got the exact same email, even though Discord is a pack of lying cunts. Because this letter that they sent in the actually it sound old. This email that they sent. This letter that they sent in an email. This email they sent fucking hello. Discord is focused on maintaining a safe and secure environment for our community, and your account has been flagged by the Discord community for violations of our terms of service and community guidelines. Our team has reviewed the claim and taken action by disabling account. Your account was found to have sent threats to others, participated in targeted harassment, or incited violence against individuals or communities. Sincerely, Discord Trust and Safety Team. So...
Okay, so that second paragraph, you found to have sent threats to others, participated in targeted harassment, or incited violence against individuals and communities. I didn't post. Like even in the redacted servers that I was in, I didn't post. I lurked. So I don't know. They took out everybody who was in them, I guess.
They're a pack of lying cunts. Like, that's the thing. People don't believe me when I say this. They assume that I'm the one who's lying. In fact, there have been multiple people who say, yeah, no, you're lying. Because Discord doesn't just ban people. They don't lie. They're not lying. You're lying. And there have been multiple people who have gotten the same email recently who also didn't fucking do that. So, yeah. These guys don't even read chat. We've been going for like 6 minutes. We're not gonna like constantly interface with the chat. We will read the chat, but we've got subjects we want to hit, and we're not gonna constantly talk to the chat. I didn't even get a notice. Everything just gone. That's from Troll with a Purpose. Yes, yeah. And realistically speaking, a lot of people got that same thing. Like, either their notice got sent to spam because they just sent it out to so many people that the spam filters did it. Or the fucking notices were just like buried in their normal mail because they got an email from Discord. What the fuck? But I also heard from a lot of people that they didn't even get an email, that they just and that was me at first. My account was just gone, and I like looked back at my email and there was nothing, and then there was suddenly something, like just everything just all at once. And the interesting thing was, for those of you who don't know, I was running a server against pedophiles, and the only thing we were doing was exposing pedophiles on social media, and also trying to find missing kids and report child porn to NCMEC. That's all totally within Discord TOS. We broke 0 TOS, 0. And we were banned. Everybody in my server was banned. And they've also banned Quackity for talking about cub porn. He was mocking cub porn servers, which are furries who like underage furry characters. He was banned. The furry porn wasn't. He was banned. So Discord has a very strong problem banning people who aren't breaking terms of service and keeping people who are. So I just thought I'd get that out there, just because we forgot to bring it up last time, and Discord banning was fucking bullshit. Also, a bunch of Boogaloo pages were banned, which I don't mind saying the word on this video. It's going to get torn to shit anyway in terms of the algorithm. So like a bunch of pages were banned, and in that same purge, a bunch of pages which weren't related to it got banned.
Yeah, pretty much a lot that were posting memes.
Yeah, and like so. One of the things that did happen, and you can watch a more comprehensive video about it, was Agorist Nexus was suspended from Facebook. So if you want to help us be rebels and fuck with their algorithm anyway, feel free to like Agorist Nexus 2.0 on Facebook, because we're not going to take it. Are you able to make a new discount? I don't know if my IP is banned, because I haven't checked yet. I don't want to make a new account and encourage people to join a new server when they're just gonna ban me again anyway, and when the service is apparently run by pedo sympathizers and they get money from people who use it. So I'm not a fan of that notion of just trying to start again. What I did do was restart the anti-pedo action server on Keybase. So you can find me on Keybase at Insanity is free, and you can help me be a hate group leader, because I'm still being called that for doing this. If you want, it's totally your choice. But that in general is what's been going on that wasn't really discussed last time, as far as I remember. But let's then move into the more recent stuff and discuss some frustrations. Now, like, one of the things I noticed that you were having some strong frustration with was the response to the black bagging of journalists.
Well, yeah. Well, anything. It really is anything. I'm just seeing the two-party system lines being drawn with anarchists and people getting dragged back to those. Yeah, if it owns the libs, or if it owns the commies, or if it owns the right, the alt-right, whatever, then people are just back on that status teat quicker than ever. Seeing supposed left anarchists saying they want to vote for Biden, save the post office because it's a national treasure. I just don't know what the fuck's going on. It's ridiculous.
Okay, and we can talk about the post office too, very temporarily, because first off, fuck the post office. Second off, fuck who used to run the post office all through its history, because for those of you who know the history of libertarian anarchy, you know that the left libertarian, like libertarian socialist Lysander Spooner, tried to start his own mail service and was quelled because the state doesn't like competition, even though he did it better than they did, and that's why his service was gaining traction. So if you're a left libertarian and you support the post office, read Lysander Spooner and unfuck yourself. Because... Go ahead.
Well, another thing they were saying, someone said, I can't remember who, was that it's class warfare to get rid of the post office, because apparently it's the only place you can get money orders, which is not true at all. You can go to fucking Circle K and get a money order. So, and it's class warfare because it's keeping the poor down, because a lot of them don't have bank accounts apparently. So, okay.
Well, also, like, in that regard. So, money orders, first off, Walmart. I'm pretty sure there's a Walmart everywhere. Mm-hmm. Second off, if you really want to help poor people, maybe tell them to get off this inflationary dollar. Because the dollar is fucked. It's absolutely fucked.
Johnny boy, what's up?
So, like, inflation. Fucking dollar scams. Fucking, like, losing reserve currency status. Like... you can go to 7-Eleven and get a money order. Yeah. So, first off, it's not really a threat to money orders. Like, for the most part, the vast majority of places have somewhere you can get a money. Plus, just use PayPal. Yeah. They have Zoom now. They acquired Zoom. You can send a money order to Zimbabwe. There's, like, so many ways to do it. And then second off, like, we should get people onto cryptocurrency. We should get people onto non-inflationary currency.
Check out Chainlink.
So, okay, talk about that briefly.
I don't fucking know what it is. I just know I'm making money.
Okay,
I've never been good with crypto, like the technology, the knowledge with it. But I had Branch Ellison on my show, and he explained a lot of good stuff. and I don't retain that shit very well, so I'm going to need to go back and watch that episode. That was a couple ago. I think it was like episode 93 or 94, but he was talking about Chainlink pretty in depth. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot, throw some money at it, see what happens, and I'm up like 200% of my investment already, so it's on a roll.
Yeah, and I just saw a comment that, how about Somalia? And so I posted my link to my shirt, Honorary Somalian, on Teespring. Wear that in case anybody ever tells you that you need to move to Somalia because you don't like it here. Just wear that shirt to piss them off. What episode?
I think I said 93 or 94, one
Gotcha.
of those. It's in there, Branch Ellison.
Yeah, you're almost episode 100. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be good. I think I said it on my last show, so it's not a super secret surprise, but I'm looking at rebranding. So reaching out from the anarchist sphere and trying to draw more people in to that sphere.
We need some sort of no money system. I mean, they already have barter systems. I think there are even some sites where you can just trade objects, but of course you still need some money to ship them. But if you really want that, flea markets have very few substitutes. I would highly recommend finding your local flea market. One of the things that I recorded for agoristnexus.com, hashtag shameless plug, was a voiceover for an article by Lily Forrester, who's one of the admins on the new page, by the way. If you ever see something by LF, that's her. But I saw this part of her article, and it referenced the fact that she basically became an agorist because her parents were a lot freer in the flea market system and trying to get by than she ever was like doing work for corporate America. And so that sort of like made her realize that she wanted to be freer than a corporate job would let her be, and flea markets are a great place to get started there. Based on doing work for the community or something. Yeah, well, I think you can do work trades. Craigslist has an entire section, if I recall correctly, for doing work trades. So
I think it's called Woof. It's a farm work thing too. That's pretty cool that you can check out if you're interested in no money and traveling around working on farms in exchange for food and an awesome place to stay. Also, if you make money off a Chainlink, you can definitely thank me. Thank me with a little Chainlink tip there.
So, and like on that subject, there are sites you can use to find intentional communities. I had a conversation, I fucking forget when, which is a shame.
Oh, damn, I can't see it very well.
But I had a conversation with David Rodriguez, who, by the way, recently had a long series of negative interactions with airports because he didn't muzzle himself. So if you want to go check that out on Facebook, he just civilly refused to muzzle himself. He did the whole medical exemption thing, and then he was eventually barred from like several fucking airlines. So there's that, and it's an interesting thing to watch the medical system overtake society while being the opposite of medical. But the point is, we had a conversation about intentional communities and homeschooling, and one of the things involved in that conversation was a discussion of websites that you can just go to find your local intentional community. Like, there's this website, and I forget what it is. I'll put it like a link somewhere when I remember, but this site, you can just find a local intentional community. You can find what it stands for. You can find what the amenities offered are, what's required of you, and you can just go there, live there, usually like with some room and board paid, as long as you're willing to help work the farm or whatever. And a lot of these places are basically ANCOMs and communes. So if you want to find actual ANCOMs, like people actually interested in building anarchist communes, it's a great way to do it.
I want to answer this question. Peace said, what's your opinion on masks and 6 feet distancing? I don't care.
I do.
Fuck them. If you want to wear them, wear them. You want to distance. I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't like that they're mandatory. And that is something, too. I was thinking about the approach. We were talking about this before. The approach of anarchists to statists and whatnot to bring people in. And one of the things that bugs me is how anarchists still, and myself included sometimes tend to divide down the bipartisan issue lines. Still, there's the whole anti-mask crowd, just like the Trump anti-mask crowd, and there's the whole wear it and save lives crowd, just like the Biden or left, whatever the fuck it is, Democrat crowd saying that same shit, and putting out these opinions on it, like, yeah, put out your opinions and stuff, but why is anybody going to look to anarchists for opinions if they're the same fucking opinions as the bipartisan issues?
Well, see, and I can see where you're coming from there. Like, my particular, like, bias is this. I'm watching the slow march to tyranny. I'm watching the fact that ID 2020, which is a facial recognition system, is strengthened whenever somebody wears a mask and then takes it off and then wears it and then takes it off, because then they can see how your face looks covered and uncovered, and they can match your eye line. So I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that that these masks are, like, historically, like, throughout time, masks have been an initiation ritual to cults. Truth Stream Media put out a great video on this, and I had already, like, looked into this a little bit before I saw that video, because honestly, like, people like Truth Stream Media sort of opened my eyes to the fact that the elites believe a lot of the occult stuff, even though it's, bullshit. But, like, essentially, the idea is you put on the mask and you are no longer who you were. It washes away your visage. It removes who you were. And then because you're part of the group and you're acting with the group, you are now as the group and you are no longer an individual. I see that with these masks. I see that with people wearing these masks as a mode of compliance and as a mode of, like, sort of unthinking obsequiousness. And I also see it as, like, programming the machines of their own destruction. I'm not a Trumper about it. I don't think it's a left-wing conspiracy. I think it's part of the more broad government conspiracy, and that these polarizing sides of the issue are just designed to keep people suspended because I'm not a Trump supporter, so I wear a mask. No, I'm not a Trump supporter, and I don't wear a mask. Like, there are other there are other nuanced positions that don't require saying, like, it doesn't bother me one way or the other, because it does bother me. I don't like to see a bunch of people walking in lockstep with something that doesn't work and that might even cause harm, especially considering the fact that a lot of these people aren't taking good care of their masks.
I don't care. Let them. If that's what they're going to do, fuck them. That's just where I'm at with most things, though. I don't like that the stores are being forced to enforce it. I just have some personal experience with that, with knowing the people who own stores in the community I live in. And I think I brought it up on the last stream, but they're fining and then pulling licenses and then eventually shutting down if they don't force the no mask, no service. I don't like that at all. And I'm sick of people saying, it's the store's fucking choice. Do whatever they want. They can enforce it or not. It's like, if it was the store's choice, maybe. But it's fucking not. It's the government's telling them you have to enforce it. It's stupid. It's the dumbest argument ever.
Well, right. And eventually that'll come down to the line of saying, if people are right and the people that I interact with are correct, it'll eventually come down to get the ID. Get the ID, get the vaccine, get the serial number tattooed on your arm, get the, there's always a slow march of tyranny, and I don't like any element of that. Like, it's why I don't like Facebook. Fuck Facebook. Read my article about, if you have the time for like 9,000 words, read my article about how Facebook was literally funded by the CIA to be a spying app, and has since not only been used as spying, but designed to steer the masses, to change their emotions, to change their political beliefs, to completely, like, alter mass consciousness from the top-down view of the Atlantic Council. Facebook is ubiquitous. Everybody uses it, but it's also some of the worst stuff ever. So, like, I'm still going to use it because I need to be able to contact people. But at, like, the same time, it's the most popular, most comprehensive spying platform the world has ever fucking known. And the fact that people aren't willing to, like, really conflict with that is a huge problem. And, the fact that it's become normal is the reason they're not willing to contend with it. So I don't I don't like any of these little incremental steps to a total loss of liberty, and I do see masks as one of those steps. So that's why I don't like it personally.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a million steps being taken. It's just one more thing. I know this one's bigger, and one of the things I hear all the time too is people both saying and being made fun of for saying, "Well, if the government told me to do it, so now I'm not doing it." Even if it's good for you to do or whatnot. Not that I'm saying that masks are, but that would be an argument. Like if they're gonna make fun of the people who are just doing it because the government or just disobeying because the government's saying to do it, I think that would require proof that this pandemic is actually a pandemic. That's actually
Right?
bad. Like if it fucking was actually super fucking dangerous, then yeah.
And
Okay.
like you know the fucking stupid thing, all pandemics primarily affect old people. All pandemics, or even just mass illnesses, primarily kill old people.
Yeah.
All of them primarily avoid kids, and most of them don't kill most kids, don't kill most middle-aged people, don't kill like most college students.
Yeah.
This pattern is literally the same as the others. It's just on top of the medical system. But a lot of hospitals are going empty. A lot of nurses are just bored because they're waiting for more. They're waiting for more COVID patients, since they're not allowed to treat people who don't have COVID. And a lot of the medical system that would have been used for other illnesses is not being used right now, and was not used in the beginning. So a bunch of other curves spiked, while this thing spiked, and then they called all deaths COVID deaths because they got more funding. And I see an overburdened medical system that can't even do what it's supposed to do, on top of the same pattern that has always existed, and it bothers me. So like in that regard, like the whole COVID thing, this is no different from any other virus.
Right.
No different. It's the same patterns, the same epidemiology. The only difference is a slightly more aggressive spread, and everybody's like, "Oh, curve spikes, blah blah." And also, most of these people who want to talk about this, they don't live healthy lifestyles normally. That fucking let me put out my cigarette, in my ashtray that I could barely reach because my stomach bluffs 2 feet out in front of me, and I have to use a cart to get everywhere, and burgers and junk food, and fucking let me be the massively unhealthy, hypocritical cunt I am, and then just like, you're not wearing a mask. That's the majority of Americans, is that they're very unhealthy in one way or another, and then they get upset with you for doing this mildly unhealthy, potentially thing that most people won't get even ill from.
Nessa explained here that governments can't make laws, only executive orders that can't be enforced the same as law, because there's no statute or penal code, and most businesses don't know that. Mm-hmm. Another thing, what's the fucking difference? They're doing it. Who cares? Just because they say they can't, they're doing it anyways.
Well, especially since to be completely specific, this is a transfer of power from the lower class to the corporate class, the lower and middle classes, because all these businesses are shutting down, all these businesses are closing. The small guys are getting absolutely fucked. Mm-hmm. And that means that the only places we have to go are the big corporations who are part of the Bilderberg Group, and they do support this policy, even though they don't have to.
There's some articles coming out from the more left-leaning, magazines and online magazines and shit, talking about the evils of the mom and pop now. Because you don't get paid as much, you don't get good benefits, all this stuff. So yeah, I think that's definitely an agenda for sure.
Agent Smith says the consistency in logic that I see from the masses, fear and obedience. I can't get on board with that. Exactly. And that's what the mask is. It's a muzzle on a good doggy, right? That's the reason I only wear it when I absolutely have to use some sort of service, usually only transit. Alex K says, hydroxychloroquine plus zinc basically cures all COVID symptoms, but is being suppressed because anything Trump says must be wrong. Maybe. I think it's also potentially like zinc alone and vitamin D. Both of those are huge in fighting these symptoms. I saw an interesting thing, and I don't do race IQ blah blah, but what I did see was an interesting interview.
It's a terrible butt
with this doctor who analyzed epidemiology between countries. And what she found out is that black people who got COVID got it much more in northern climates with clouds and cloud cover. And in Africa, there are almost no deaths, comparatively speaking, from COVID to everywhere else. And the reason for that is they're out in the sun. They absorb a shit ton of vitamin D, which I take 4,000 IUs a day. You should too. And I try to get out into the sun because like 16 minutes of sun exposure is enough. But most people in Africa, they do get out in the sun for at least part of the day. They like have lower obesity rates. They have lower blood pressure. And so all these comorbid conditions that make like first world diseases worse are the fault of your fat ass, whoever you are out there, not fucking... No, you're not. You're not that fat. I'm talking about like I need a mobility scooter fat.
Yeah.
So
hopefully never.
So like the whole notion that these massively unhealthy people from a default growing old on a system that allows them to be massively unhealthy, then they're old, then there's a class of vulnerable people, then a thing hits and we all have to curtail. No. Fuck that. Bullshit. There are old people who are living because they lived a healthier life. If you want to live a long life, earn it. You know? Be healthier. And the fact that a lot of people aren't is a key reason behind the spread of COVID. Not lack of masks, not being close together, but the fact that you're not willing to work. You know, and zinc alone. Vitamin D3 and zinc, both. Those are both immune system boosters that most people don't have as a component of their diet. I take this every day. I take 3 of these fucking things because they have calcium, magnesium, and zinc. And those 3 supplements will not only boost your bone strength, they'll help you, you know, grow tendons, but zinc itself is highly required for a strong immune system. And if you aren't getting enough zinc, and D3, you will get COVID. And if you get COVID because you did not have enough zinc and D3, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. I hope it hurts.
All right. Enough shilling for big supplements.
Yeah, right?
But I wanted to touch on what he said at the end there because everything Trump says must be wrong. Yeah, that's definitely the opinion of some people. It's like the latest thing, that executive order that we were talking about before this, where he's going to approve, $400 a month federal on top of your unemployment. But the other part was he wants to suspend federal payroll tax. And from this person that I screenshotted this, says he's talking about the 7.65% withheld for your Social Security and Medicare. And here's the scam. It would also suspend the 7.65% your employer matches. You will not get that, nor will your wage or salary increase by 7.65%. Plus, when Social Security flounders due to this defunding, it will provide an excuse to privatize it. Mm-hmm. I don't see a fucking problem with any of that. It's one less tax I'm paying, one less tax my employer is not paying into for me, which I didn't fucking ask them to. Mm-hmm. And good. Social Security flounders. Fuck it. Like, how do these people that are criticizing this, if they're anarchists, even call themselves anarchists? Like, no, don't take away the tax because Trump wants to do it. Shut up.
Well, and here's the other part of it, is that, like, ultimately, a lot of these issues are because people fear the privatization aspect of it, but Social Security itself is insolvent. Someday, Social Security will fucking die. Mm-hmm. It will fucking die. And if you don't think Social Security will fucking die, it's because you're dead in the brain. The fact is, it's a massively insolvent Ponzi scheme, and it has no merit in the market, which is why it must be forcibly extracted. And the modern generations are getting essentially wealthy off the backs of those who have already worked for it. And someday, especially since these funds are constantly being pulled from and siphoned off, Social Security will die. So to say that, Trump is the reason Social Security fails and not the fact that it's a massively flawed program to begin with massive flaws that, like, enabled a lot of the super statism we see today. Like, the fact is, without a Social Security number, you would be a lot freer. To say that because Trump did something that's wrong, Social Security can die. It will die. It should die.
Yeah. Unhealthy food, cigarettes, whatever, are addictive. So getting off them isn't easy. Fitness in general isn't easy. Like, I have a fucking hard time with it. Who cares? It's not easy. It's hard. Do it anyways.
Yeah, that's Peace in the chat. So, Peace. Sugar, Salt, Fat by Michael Moss is a good book to read about how processed food companies hook people. I agree. But I used to be hooked, and now I'm not. If you don't want to make the healthy choice, you live this unhealthy lifestyle, it's voluntary. There's plenty of information out there these days that lets you make better choices, even cheaply. I'm below the poverty line. I'll qualify for stimulus for a long time because I'm below the poverty line. I don't make much. If y'all want to support me on any of the links available in my coin tree, feel free. But I live on a very small amount of money a month. And, like, I can still eat relatively healthily. I can look this way. I can get muscle gains. Y'all saw me flex the other day because that guy pissed me off. So, it's possible. And the fact is, most people just don't want to. They like the way it tastes. They like the way it works. They don't care that it's bad for them, and they don't care that it'll fuck their health in situations like these.
That's one thing Rogan gets right, because he harps on it all the fucking time, is discipline. You gotta do it. You gotta make yourself do it. Like, there's a million excuses, but anybody can do it.
Right. And so my particular bias is, if you're not willing to do the work and you want everybody else to do the work when the hard times show up, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. It's sort of like prepping. There are a lot of people, honestly, myself included, who aren't that well prepped. And in a situation where they have to deal with a shit hit the fan, they're not going to be able to deal with any of that shit. So ultimately, they're going to sponge off of everybody else. I mean, I'm trying to build survival skills. I'm trying to get to the point where if that happens, I can go out there and forage and get what I need. Like, I've studied hundreds of edible plants. I've studied ways to survive in the wild. I know how to do these things generally, and I can, I'm going to write lots about these things. But the point is, I have some basic skills in that regard. Most people call people like us crazy, right? And of course, when I say that and give that facial expression, it fucking doesn't help. But most people call people like us crazy because we're thinking about this stuff, because we're angry, pessimistic, cynical, because we're not being nice about it. We're crazy. We're conspiracy theorists. Envision a tinfoil hat, even though those make all the signals that you're trying to prevent worse. You really want a Faraday cage if you're trying to block signals. But the point is, picture that if you need to. But the point is, we're considered crazy because we're thinking about this stuff, and so many other people who aren't thinking about this stuff are going to be high and dry in a collapse. And those are the same sorts of people that are high and dry during this pandemic because they were unhealthy, their immune system sucked, and they suck now. And it sucks. But fuck you. Suck. It doesn't matter. Sucks to suck.
There's a little vindication lately too for being called crazy for stuff so long. Yeah. But I've been thinking about that a lot too. And it's like, well, if you tossed out every single conspiracy out there, and I'm talking the community at large, tosses out everything's a conspiracy, all the crazy zombie prepping stuff there's a lot of bad info, either purposely or through stupidity attached to the good info. So people don't want to listen, but now the massive pedophilia in government in Hollywood's coming out, and people that have been talking about that for a long time are not considered crazy anymore. Right. Like you said, prepping, that kind of stuff. So And it seems kind of thankless, too, because I've watched people rail on this stuff for a long time. I've railed on some stuff for a long time. And then all of a sudden, when some celebrity, minor or major, or a fighter or whatever catches on to this stuff and starts talking about it, boom, 1 million Instagram followers and stuff. And it's like, okay, it's good, though, because it's getting out there. I think that's great. Well,
as long as they're not controlled opposition and adding shit to the message.
Sure.
And like, by the way, on the pedophilia score, feel free to sign and mass share, tag everyone you know this, just annoy them, be an obnoxious piece of shit, because this petition is starting to gain traction to try and get Twitter to ban pedophiles. They don't have a policy for it right now, and it's one of the primary reasons that there's a lot that's going on, because they can exist above the board. They can exist on the surface. They don't need to exist in some sort of dark, shadowy room. So feel free to, I posted a link in the chat to share that petition everywhere and annoy your friends with it, because the more people you tag, the more fucking support it can get. And I had a recent argument with Adam Kokesh because he's calling this petition an advocacy of censorship. Peace just brought it up too.
Here's my opinion on Adam Kokesh. He can go fuck himself.
Agreed.
From not just this, from forever. So
like,
a lot of shit.
Recently, he got very upset about this petition because it's censorship and because it's blocking people's opinions and because you don't even know that it helps. Yeah, because we haven't been able to do it yet. So if we do it and it doesn't help, then maybe you can say that it doesn't help. But basically all we're trying to do is say that there should be terms of service against pedophiles on a platform that allows 13-year-olds. So Twitter is, Alex K says, Twitter is run by pedos. I don't see them banning their own, LOL. Probably not. What do you know about TikTok?
Nothing.
TikTok is Chinese spyware designed by Beijing to push their particular biases on everything and make sure that their image stays strong in the West. It's cultural warfare, and it's also a spyware designed by another government. That's why I don't have it. I might consider getting it when it's bought by Microsoft, but I haven't gotten it before then because I'm already spied on by one government and also the 5, 9, and 14 eyes of global surveillance, and I don't need China knowing shit too. Are parking lots involved with your dislike of Kokesh? Not mine. I don't know 100%.
I don't care if he jerks off in parking lots.
I also don't know that that's true. And as somebody who's been...
But it's funny.
It is funny. And as somebody who's been falsely accused of things by a massive group of people, I've been called a Nazi, a tanky, a hate group leader, even a pedophile because they decided to throw that at me to try and discredit my work. As somebody who's been called all these things despite being none of these things, a cult leader, I led a vicious, violent mob against red-headed libertarian. As somebody who's been falsely accused of a long list of things, I'm not gonna assume that somebody was right about what he does in parking lots, but. Yeah. He sucks ass because he thinks it's censorship to say you can't have pedos around kids.
Well, and there's provable stuff, too, that you don't need to hang on to the jerking off in parking lots. You can look at how he came after Graham Smith and his family. There's tons of evidence for that.
Right.
And him and his supporters still just deny it. Deny. The Mulligan Mint, that's all over the fucking place. His scam with the Mulligan Mint, promising silver, sending copper Kokesh coins or whatever the fuck coins they were. There's shit out there that's real. Fuck that scammer.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing. With so much verifiable stuff, you don't need to look elsewhere. And that's the problem with a lot of people in these circles, is that they go on things that they can't verify because they're scandalous. And because they like scandal, and because one of the reasons that they're libertarian is because they can get away with spreading scandal. So, I don't know. Erica says, a lot of conspiracy theory, foraging, anarchist, talking points, anti-pedo, good shit on TikTok. I agree. The content is not what I'm upset about. It's the platform itself. And we've had private conversations about that too, so I'm sure you know what I think of that. A mom just got the Hasbro pedo toy taken off the shelves with a petition on TikTok. Well, her and a host of other people. Like, let's be clear that was, like, the primary places I saw that spreading were on YouTube. It may have started on TikTok, I don't know, but I do know that like, factually, TikTok is run poorly. And again, I have nothing against the content on TikTok, right? Except some of it is pretty vapid, but like a lot of the stuff on YouTube is vapid anyway, so vapid content is going to be everywhere. But TikTok specifically, the platform, I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it should be banned, of course, but government spyware banned by government, can't really cry that hard.
I don't know about TikTok, and I don't care. When it comes to TikTok, I'm the old man yelling at a cloud. So,
Right.
I want to bring something else. I want to get off TikTok because fuck TikTok.
Oh, and one more thing. Instagram Reels is pretty much TikTok anyway, so
There you go. Go to Instagram Reels and be more sunken into the Facebook mire.
right?
But so back to COVID stuff and fascism, literal fascism. Australia, if you haven't seen it, it's been going around a lot in the anarchist circles, what's going on in Australia. And I can't 100% verify this, but there is an article attached called Madness in Melbourne. I'll try to send that to you after this so you can link it here. But let me go down the list of what the fuck's going on in Victoria, because it is appalling. It's crazy. So let's see here. Someone from Australia sent this. It says, police may now enter anyone's home without a warrant. And this is all having to do with COVID enforcement shit. They have an 8 p.m. curfew, $1,600 fine if you're outside without a valid reason, and that fine, that keeps going up. It's been going up. You can't visit any family or friends. $200 fine for no mask and mandatory masks at all times. You can only exercise once per day, so there's back into the supplements. They're limiting your exercising and health for up to 1 hour. Only one person per household per day can leave the house, including for groceries. You can't go more than 3 miles from your home. Weddings are illegal. No gatherings of any size. The army is in the streets finding and arresting people, so the army is enforcing it, martial law. Let's see, 193,740 spot checks have been conducted by police across Victoria, and they don't need warrants or anything or warning to do that. Protesting and activism is illegal and people are getting arrested, and the media is biased, of course, calling protesters right-wing conspiracy nut jobs. Several thousand people placed under house arrest and unable to leave for any reason, with food rations delivered by the army. Let's see. Most of the other stuff's just other. Let's see. The 1984 kind of stuff. There's billboards out there saying, "What are you doing? Stay home." And one of the messages that they have out there on billboards as well is, "Staying apart keeps us together." Mm-hmm. So keep an eye on Australia. I don't know how necessarily we could help, but if there's any way anybody can help them, they need it. They need to get their guns back, and keep an eye on it, because we don't want that shit to happen here, even though some of that shit is happening here.
Right. Well, and it's also valuable to remember that, there but for the grace of God go I. All this stuff is going to happen here. Like, that's how global hegemony works. They do tests in other countries that are more receptive to it, and then they bring it to yours.
Right.
That's ID 2020 is Chinese 5G surveillance. That's it. It's it. Facial recognition used as the backbone of a giant super state where all aspects of infrastructure are controlled. Basically, if any of you have played Watch Dogs, it's fucking CTOS in real life. And people don't give a shit. People don't give a shit. So, I just, like, this anything you see, Australia, China, anything you see anywhere like that is going to come here. So be very specific and recognize the threats before they show up, because it can happen here. And that's sort of part of the thing. It's like people assume that fascism can't happen here. But it already is. We already have fascism. In fact, if you go to my Facebook post, there's a liar named Bibo Baldassari who claims he's a libertarian while also claiming to be a fascist. He's in the comments section of this post being obnoxious about it. So feel free to go give him shit. But
epic reply from Chuck on there. Told Bebo to go fuck a Cheeto Crumb.
Right. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Chuck.
And so this is here. It's already here. There are entryists like Bebo who don't mean shit to anybody, who still want to feel like they're involved. There are, factually speaking, fascists in office. There are people who are justifying mass police brutality. People being shot with rubber bullets, people being fired on with paintballs while they're on their own fucking property, people being policed into their house, people having windows broken with pepper balls, people being beaten to near death, people sometimes just being beaten to death, repeats of George Floyd neck injuries.
Say black bagged already?
Yeah, black bag journalists,
protesters
being like thrown into vans because they can't read you your rights because you don't have any. That's what the government wants you to think, that you don't have any rights. If they say go with you, go with them.
But that's okay, because they're owning the commies.
Oh, yeah. So that's the thing. Like, it's happening now.
That was sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's happening now. We have fascism. Fascism is here. Okay? This is not a drill. And it hasn't been a drill for years. Fascism was basically already here under Bush. It basically was already here under Bush. It was cemented under Obama, where they tested to see whether or not the population would go along with a bunch of anti-freedom shit just because the guy was black. And now we've got Trump. And we're seeing the right be okay with everything they hated under Obama just because Trump is Trump, And so there's that too, Alex K. There's the other side of the coin. Who's more fascist, Antifa or Antifa?
Or anti-Antifa.
Or anti-Antifa.
I don't know.
Obviously anti-Antifa.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, there's more than one type of tyranny.
I was just hoping to avoid the putting Antifa and the
Right.
word Antifa and fascist together.
Yeah.
Because we're wearing out fascists, we're wearing out communists, we're wearing out Nazi, we're wearing all this shit out. I'm just sick of it.
Well, see, here's the thing. There's more than one type of tyranny. And like there's more than one side to tyranny. There are more than two sides to tyranny.
We have elements of a lot of them right now.
Right.
It's tyranny, it's authoritarianism.
And so no, people marching against that and destroying some federal courthouses and police stations are not the same as those ordering mass police violence on professional anarchists and things like that. Obviously. I hate people using fascism to describe Antifa because there's literally no point to it except to try and insult them. Yeah, you owned a lib by saying that they share characteristics of tyranny. Fantastic. But what did you actually do? Not jack fucking shit. So that's my opposition. That's my position in that regard, is that no, Antifa is not fascist. And yeah, some of them are fine, right? So instead of being collectivist and saying this group is bad, when nothing at a base level involved with their group is bad, let's be very specific. It's the bad choice. It's the wrong option. And when you want to talk about this stuff, be anti-fascist and be a better example than you think they're being, right? That's the real answer. Not don't be anti-fascist. Be anti-fascist. Absolutely. Fascism sucks. It is one of the worst forms of tyranny. Right?
I don't know, but I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, right? Yeah, Troll with a Purpose says, professional anarchists. Who is their sanctioning body? Right?
You guys are getting paid?
Yeah, right? I barely get paid. In fact, I'm going to post my CoinTree link just to be obnoxious. But you also wanted to talk about something else. So what was that?
I don't remember, but can you post that in there real
yeah,
quick?
oh, actually, yeah.
This is the link for the Australia shit I was talking about, Madness in Melbourne. And I'll put that in the description if you're listening on my show as well. What was the other thing we wanted to talk about? I can't fucking remember.
Because there were... we wanted to talk about so many things that we missed last time.
Censorship, statism run amok.
Fake anarchists.
Discord. I think we covered just about everything.
Right?
What about anybody in chat? You want us to rant about something for a few more minutes?
Yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free. I don't know why he deleted his comment. Spartanson wrote buy food. Definitely buy food.
Buy food now. And grow food now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The common thread between communism and fascism is socialism. No. Fascism doesn't require socialism, and often it requires a highly refined state-associated market. That's how fascism spread in Italy. That's how fascism took its fork in Germany. The National Socialist thing was just in name only. Like, socialism was the lube for the cock of fascism, rammed down the throat of Germany. So I don't buy that socialism is when government does stuff. I think socialism is a very specific type of government doing stuff, personally.
Yeah.
So I don't conflate the two, personally. That's I noticed a precipitous drop off of viewership when I said that, but let me assure you, I stand by that. Not all government is socialism, and the fact is, there are many types of ways to be a tyrant.
Agent Smith says, what about Area 51 and the Pentagon's announcement of extraterrestrial life? I haven't seen anything too super new other than government supposedly confirming it. Like what are they focusing on? Those Tic Tac crafts, I believe?
Yeah, see, I don't buy it. I don't buy the UFO thing. I really, really, really don't buy that stuff. Okay. Send me money, and I will make whatever sky video you have a UFO video. I sent this challenge out on Twitter, and nobody's taken me up on it. Do it. Send me enough money, and I will make a convincing UFO video, right? Because these UFO videos are just a tiny little in the sky. It's not real. It's a tiny little... I mean, they can fucking... If you watched Forrest Gump. Every one of you watched that shitty fucking movie, which is awful and overrated. You watched how they changed this guy's face into, like, and body into, like, all this historical footage. You know how much they can do. You know it's not hard. Don't claim that they can't just add a little into a video. It's fucking bullshit. It's so bullshit.
Do you think we're alone?
No,
okay.
that'd be absurd. We were comet jizz.
Yeah,
So I don't believe in this UFO disclosurism stuff, and I think it's a way to distract conspiracy theorists from their normal work.
That's the main thing. I think it's mostly a distraction because they're not putting out anything new. I guess there's a couple documents out that were new. I guess one dude got a hold of them and gave Joe Rogan one on his show, which was interesting, but it doesn't seem like anything groundbreaking that people haven't already put out there in one form or another. So
right. I mean, the only difference is that they're now approving these things, but of course they're approving them. They're trying to fund a space force for a massive collection of satellites. They're trying to use these satellites for a massive control net where they can eye in the sky anywhere and be able to tell who you are, where you are, throw a rod from God if they want to at you, throw a directed energy weapon at you if they want to. They want to do this all while they form this gigantic interconnected lattice of satellites, which will all be beaming 5G networks back at the Earth like a dome. And they're doing all of this for the express purpose of creating a mass control net. And the new gold rush, that ain't in Silicon Valley. The new gold rush ain't in the West where they found the gold. The new gold rush is in all these poor countries that don't have access to internet. That's what Elon Musk and all these people are saying. Literally, I'm not making this up. So they're launching satellites into the sky. They're creating weapons to protect those satellites. They're creating this massive space infrastructure. So of course they want an extraterrestrial threat to justify another war on the sky, because they need that every single fucking time in order to justify their xenophobic, jingoistic bullshit approach to funding. Just had to say that.
Yeah, get it out, man. Peace asks if either of us are interested in moving to the Free State Project. No, thank you.
Nope.
Not interested in the East Coast or libertarians.
Okay, so actually that's a good thing to bring up real quick. Is I had this conversation earlier today, and the guy's following me, and I should follow him back. But I had this conversation earlier with this guy who said he can't jive with anarchy because it seems tribal warfare would be inevitable until a bigger, more centralized power wipes everything out. I said, yeah, because people don't say "don't tread on me" in any other context, and there are no groups vying for control right now apart from the state. That's why the streets are clear of gangs, there are no religions or cults, and militias aren't real. Wait, that's not true. He says, I didn't say those things don't exist in a state. And I said, then why can't you jibe with a more peaceful core paradigm when the alleged future externalities of which you complain are already present, and when they're often made worse by the presence of the state and its edicts? See the war on drugs helping the gangs and foreign cartels. He says, I can't because infighting tribes were decimated by the superior arm of a centralized state. ANCAPs would be in constant conflict with ANCOMs because of the fundamental views on property. I don't personally see this playing out any differently than the past. Certainly open to being enlightened, but I personally haven't been able to overcome this problem. That and nukes. And I said, the only reason people support the state with all its fallacy and inefficiency is because they've been trained from a young age to believe that this is the only available paradigm. And if they chose to be in constant conflict, I'd wager we'll never see anarchy. And he says, so the state didn't use overwhelming force to genocide and cast out the Native Americans? Or perhaps people like me have interacted with ANCAPism as a theory and still find it wanting. I respect the hell out of you guys, but I do believe minarchy is superior to anarchy. Sorry. I said, and this does have a point, by the way, the state only exists because people agree to let it. The force used against the FNP was manpower. That requires convincing people, not just simply having better arms. Factually, people who started the U.S. were pretty racist and were told they were owed a piece of this pie. And he says, I completely agree with everything you just said. I would love for ANCAPs to congregate in a large piece of unused land, and that's how it ties in and isn't just me being an obsessed, crazy rambler. And prove to everyone that their anarchy is preferable to all other social ideas. At this point, I see it as a recipe for being dominated. And I said, so would coalescing in one place. You just brought up nukes, a weapon I loathe. If we concentrate us all to one place, that's a way to get nuked and completely destroyed. I encourage people changing where they are and spreading anarchy like a virus, and more than just ANCAPs. So, first off, let me follow this guy back if I haven't already, because he followed me and I follow people back. Follow me on Twitter before I'm banned.
Me too. I'm going to change it soon.
At the Dank Pod Stash. And you can find, by the way, if you follow him, you'll be able to find his new name. But if you can't, you can find his ID. Or you could just do a search for anywhere he's been added and find his new account. Because he's going to rebrand soon. But basically, yeah, Free State Project. Good in theory, but in practice, you're a big nuke target. You're a big firebombing target. You're a big C4 satchel-like move target. You're a big target. Don't be a big target. Spread it everywhere. Be in so many places that they can't kill you all without killing so many of their own that they revolt. That's what you should do.
Yes.
So first off, I think Agent Smith over here, Joe, is defending Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is ass trash, and I can prove it mathematically. We're talking about a movie where a complete moron completely stumbles into everything he has, doesn't work for any of it, and still gets everything in the end eventually, only after being sad-ish a few times. It has barely any conflict. The conflict is mostly surrounding the character and not in the character, meaning the main character basically doesn't grow. And ultimately speaking, it's a waste of time that people only care about because it had their cultural reference they liked in it.
I watched it back in the day. I haven't watched it since.
I hate it. It's overplayed. It's garbage. It's fucking awful. Anyway.
Someone wanted to hear more about the new gold rush. It is interesting. I want the new gold rush though, and that's mining asteroids.
Right.
I did mining for a long time in Arizona, and I would love to space mine.
So, what they're calling the new gold rush is the new tech that they can build, that they can beam internet anywhere, and therefore not only beam internet to the third world, but build the infrastructure that the internet allows to be built in the third world. they're going to use the internet and the presence of the internet in more places. In previous places, it didn't get the signal necessary, and it had too too high a latency. So the information took too long to go from your device to the to the satellite or to the server or to something, and then come back to the other device, right? That's lowered dramatically now because of 5G. And now the new gold rush is we're going to try and put 5G satellites in so many parts of the sky that the network is completely unstoppable. And then after we do that, we'll have internet anywhere and everywhere on the planet, and we can turn everywhere into a hyper-controlled cityscape. It's awful. It's fucking bad. It's so fucking bad. I'm pessimistic, and I'm a cynic, and I'm an asshole about shit, and I recognize that. But this is bad.
But that high-speed 5G coverage, bro.
Right, yeah, so that I can play video games on my phone and never look at a fucking tree in my life.
Feels good, man.
Right.
What up, memes of destruction? You came right here at the end, because it's about that time.
Yeah, and Yana says, I agree with what you said about changing where you are, and I'm glad, because I know you and Erica are both involved in that Serene Hearts Syndicate, which is a great example of trying to do shit where you are. Don't fucking coalesce. Don't be a target. Don't be somebody that somebody can bomb. Be everywhere. Be ubiquitous. Be the annoying next door neighbor in every single fucking community.
The guy that sits at the bar and tells everyone about anarchy.
Yes.
That's a fun one. Even though I don't drink anymore now. That's sad, but...
You know, and I hate to sound like a fucking churchy, but, you know, there are non-alcoholic beverages you can order at a bar.
I'm going to sit there with an O'Doul's and be a hardcore anarchist.
And they usually have very good bar food because they're trying to keep people there. Mm-hmm. And the food is normally cheap compared to the drinks because that's the scheme. They keep you there with the cheap food so that you keep buying the expensive drinks. So just buy bar food, keep buying bar food, and you can normally get filled up on, you know, whatever junk you want there. Because normally
shit where
nachos or whatever.
But yeah, it is the burgers, dude. The burgers are insane. But anyways, fucking A. Oh, yeah. I think I got to go.
All right.
And this is my time limit for uploading this too. But that was good. That was good with chat this time too, guys. Thanks for all the questions and interaction. That was awesome.
Yeah, and if you want to check out me everywhere, feel free to check out that Cointree link. I'm on there now. It's a Naomi Brockwell project to try and get everybody's links out there along with crypto donation support.
I gotta get on that.
Yes, it's free. So please get on that. Everybody, if you're an anarchist and you're not on Cointree, you're wrong. Cool. So with all that being said, fuck the authority, fuck the state, smash them. Everything must be destroyed if it does not benefit the people. Smash the state.
Total freedom, no exceptions. Enemy of the State's Dank Podstash is sponsored by Project Sparta. Go to projectspartacoaching.com to learn more.